500 trillion SHIB, half the entire original supply of this token. One man received it all in a single transfer. And what he chose to do with it just became the most talked about story in crypto this morning. What is happening and what on earth am I even talking about? Well, let me explain. This content is provided for informational purposes only and should not be considered financial advice. Market conditions can change over time. Vitalik Buterin, the co-founder of Ethereum, posted on X this morning and the crypto world completely stopped. He was not talking about Ethereum upgrades or blockchain theory. He was talking about SHIB, about what he did with 500 trillion tokens that Ryoshi, the anonymous creator of Shiba Inu, handed directly to him back in 2021. Details that have never been laid out this clearly before. And the reason he shared them now is a story in itself. Every SHIB holder needs to understand exactly what happened and why it matters for where this community stands today. Let me take you back to where this began. According to reports published this morning, Ryoshi's decision to transfer 500 trillion SHIB directly to Buterin was calculated from the start. The move was a deliberate marketing strategy. The Shiba Inu founders wanted to attach the phrase "Vitalik owns half our supply" to their project. That association with the most recognized name in blockchain would position SHIB as the next Dogecoin in the eyes of the market. They sent the tokens and banked on Buterin doing nothing with them, just holding them there, supply locked by reputation rather than mechanics. Here's the thing. Buterin did not play along. He recognized immediately what the transfer represented, and he had no interest in becoming a controlling force inside a meme coin ecosystem. According to market data, the combined market value of the SHIB and other dog-themed coins he received in early 2021 crossed $1 billion almost overnight. That figure was growing by the day, and Buterin's response was to move fast before the bubble he was now sitting on top of grew even larger. He described the entire situation as a bet that would likely collapse quickly. He wanted out before the pop, so he started converting what he could into ETH and directing those proceeds toward causes he believed in. Now, here is where it gets interesting. Analysts note that the full picture of exactly where those tokens went has now been laid out by Buterin himself. A significant portion of the SHIB was sent to the Crypto Relief Initiative in India, a fund established by Polygon co-founder Sandeep Nelwal to address the humanitarian emergency unfolding during the country's worst pandemic wave. At the time, that transfer represented approximately $1 billion worth of SHIB. The rest was split between the Future of Life Institute, an organization focused on reducing existential risk to humanity, and Buterin's own charitable framework. His internal calculation when making those transfers was that FLI would be able to cash out somewhere between $10 and $25 million. That was the ceiling he imagined for the transaction. But here's the kicker. The actual outcome destroyed that estimate completely. As per Buterin's own public statements today, the Future of Life Institute ultimately liquidated approximately $500 million from the SHIB he transferred, 20 times the maximum he had imagined possible. The SHIB market had not done what he expected. Instead of collapsing, it surged, and the charitable organizations he had rushed to transfer tokens to found themselves sitting on a sum of money that reshaped their capacity entirely. And then there is the burn. The most significant single action Buterin took with the 500 trillion SHIB he received was also the most consequential event in the entire history of this token. He took approximately 90% of the tokens he had not yet donated and sent them to a permanently dead blockchain address. That transaction removed an enormous portion of the original SHIB supply from circulation in a single moment. Sources suggest Buterin explained his reasoning clearly at the time. He did not want to hold the kind of influence over a project that half its total supply would represent. He wanted no part of that power, and he eliminated it unilaterally, permanently, and publicly. The SHIB community at that time did not ask for this, but the effect on the long-term supply story of this token is one that the entire ecosystem lives with to this day. Blockchain analytics show that single burn transaction became the largest voluntary supply reduction event in the history of meme coins by an enormous margin. Nothing before it and nothing since has approached the scale of what happened in that one blockchain transaction. Buterin attached a message to the network when he executed it, explaining his motivation. He was not doing it for price. He was not doing it for community goodwill. He was doing it because concentrating that much influence in a single wallet was incompatible with the decentralized principles he stood for. Think about what that moment actually meant for SHIB as a long-term asset. Before Buterin's transaction, half the supply could in theory have re-entered circulation at any moment. The market priced in that uncertainty. After the burn, that overhead simply ceased to exist. The circulating supply of SHIB that exists today is shaped directly by what Buterin chose to do in 2021. The token you hold right now is a different asset than it would have been if he had simply kept those 500 trillion tokens sitting in a wallet somewhere. The historical parallel here is striking. When the Bitcoin community first confronted the question of early whale wallets and their potential impact on future supply, the long-term answer was found in transparency and movement. The SHIB story played out differently. Market observers say that one single actor made one single irreversible decision and the supply structure of the entire project changed in the span of hours. That is a moment that has no real precedent in meme coin history, and the reason it remained only partially understood for 5 years is that Buterin never laid out the complete picture in one place until this morning forced him to address it directly. And here is what today's revelation adds to this story that was not clearly understood before. Buterin's X post came not from a desire to celebrate the donation, it came as a correction of the record. He posted because speculation had linked him to current policy decisions by the Future of Life Institute, an organization he has now publicly distanced himself from, saying it shifted into political advocacy in a direction he never supported. In clearing his name, he gave this community something it had not had in full detail before, a complete account of exactly how 500 trillion SHIB moved out of one man's hands and into the foundation of SHIB's current supply story. And that context lands differently right now at this specific point in SHIB's price journey. The token is trading under real pressure. The community is watching the chart closely and analyzing every piece of data. And today, Vitalik Buterin reminded the world that the entire supply architecture of this project was permanently altered by a decision that had nothing to do with trading or speculation. It came from a principle. According to reports, someone looked at 500 quadrillion tokens, recognized the weight of that power, and chose to destroy it rather than wield it. That is the foundation this community builds on. Industry watchers note that every single token you hold today exists in a world where that decision already happened. The 1 cent dream is not just about future burns and Shibarium adoption. It stands on a foundation that was laid by one irreversible act in 2021 that tightened this supply permanently. And today, after 5 years, the man responsible for that decision chose to tell the complete story openly and in his own words. Drop your reaction in the comments right now. Did you know the full story of what Buterin did with those 500 trillion SHIB before today? Click one of the videos on screen for more SHIB analysis you need to watch next. Turn on the notifications bell because the next major development on this asset could post before you check back. Share this video immediately because every person who holds SHIB deserves to understand where this token's supply story actually began.